cider vinegar. You heat. Cleaning vinegar is white vinegar.
Hello and welcome to Bible class. We're so glad you're here. This is Peace Lutheran Church's third Bible study on our series When We Struggle, our Christian response. So tonight we're going to be looking at this new topic, desire for instant gratification. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have you all at home. You're going to need a couple things. First thing you're going to need is something to snack on, something to drink. If you happen to be in the parish hall, we have cupcakes and cookies and two different kinds of cookies, decaf or coffee, decaf and plain coffee. And we just had a wonderful coffee discussion. If you want to be part of that discussion, tell us how you clean your coffee maker in the comments. We'd love to know. Otherwise, you're going to need you're going to need a Holy Bible. The version is up to you. We're going to be using an EHV, so all of the translations you see appear on the screen are Evangelical Heritage Version, but whatever version you have at home, you feel free to use. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but next week is the last week of school for all of our kids here at Patrick Henry. Is that true up in Defiance? You guys know?
No.
You don't know? Is Jeremy still going to be at school next week, or is he out?
Devin's in school till Memorial Day weekend. So
Okay.
he's done right at that time.
When I was in school, we used to have to go until I graduated June 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
And
gosh.
when your mom and I were teaching, there were sometimes we had to go to school until July, or not June 14th.
Oh boy.
That's horrible.
I graduated on my 19th birthday,
When was that?
June 3rd.
June 3rd. 1840, no.
Now, if anybody was born in the 1840s, it's Tim.
All right. Well, so Anna, though, she might be done with class, but she actually just started a class, didn't you?
I did.
A summer class. She's studying the effects of communism in America right now. Don't worry, she's going to get good marks.
That's bad.
Good marks.
Really bad.
Karl Marx, the founder.
Oh,
She's
okay.
not actually studying communism.
Remember,
tell
if you
she's a
have to
younger
explain it,
generation.
it's not that good.
She got it as soon as it happened, right? I, on the other hand, I don't know if you guys know this, I actually originally didn't want to be a pastor. I wanted to be, do you know?
Teacher.
No.
Principal.
A pilot.
Since when?
Yeah, my career never took off.
Yep.
All right, let's get started.
Oh my God.
Dale actually has a drum set. He brought it to Ladies' Aid. He does that. Every time I tell a joke at home, he goes, da-dun-dun. All right, let's get started. So we've got our Bible studies. You guys have them down below on Facebook. I also emailed them out. As you can see, it's instant gratification, but that brings me to the question of exactly what is instant gratification? So what I did is, anybody want to shoot it from the hip? What is instant gratification? What do you guys all think instant gratification is?
Praise.
Lord, give me patience. Now!
There you go. Lord, give me patience now. What is it, Fiona?
Patience.
No, it's not patience.
Sorry, praise.
What do you think? Anybody else?
Social media.
Okay, social media. So instant gratification, yeah, I think you're right in many ways. Instant gratification, I found a definition. Now look at the definition I found. This is actually for parenting for the brain. Is the definition where I got this. But look at it. It says instant gratification, also called immediate gratification, is the urge to satisfy a craving right away without considering long-term effects or a bigger picture. We live in an age of instant gratification. That's where you're talking about social media, right? Where you're scrolling through, and that's what they've discovered with a lot of social media things is when you're watching those videos or you're doing the scrolling, that your brain has figured out, I can get that instant gratification by just keep scrolling. That's why when you put those limits on yourself and you say, I'm going to watch or social media for 1 more minute, that 1 more minute turns into 3 hours. And now all of a sudden you've been scrolling for 3 hours.
The world now knows what it's like to be an avid book reader, where you can't put the book down until you finished it.
Now, interestingly, kind of a side note, very quickly, just kind of give you a good educational look at this. I remember going through college, and in my child psychology classes, are you guys familiar with the marshmallow study of instant gratification? So the marshmallow study is they brought a bunch of children in, and what they did was they had the kids over several days come in, okay, and they told the kids when they came in, these were kids that liked marshmallows, obviously, and they would give them a little marshmallow, and they would say, you can have one marshmallow now, or we'll double it and give you 2 tomorrow. And the kids would say, okay, only they didn't do it on a tomorrow thing, they did it on a minute thing. So they would say, you can have 1 marshmallow now, or you can wait a minute and have 2 marshmallows in a minute. And then when 2 minutes came, they can say, you can have 2 marshmallows now, or you can have 4 marshmallows in 1 minute. And they let that keep going to show the kids how long they could delay their gratification. And they found that there was a high need in the kids to take that single marshmallow immediately. Even when they could watch the other kids behind the screen wait, because they had other kids that were plants, wait 2, 3, 4 minutes and get 6, 8, and so on marshmallows. They could see the other kids getting the bigger payoff. Once they got in the room, they had to take the win right away. And so that's an example of instant gratification.
So like toddlers, I see it, I want it, I have it, it's mine.
Yep, exactly. And so that's an example of instant gratification. But it applies also to adults. I'm sure you know adults that need something immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think car salesman. You go into a car salesman, you see that car you want, and how soon do you want it? Now. That's what they're counting on. All right, so let's go right away into our Bible study. And we've got a life example. And what we're going to do is, would somebody be willing to read the life example on Rodney there?
Rodney is a gifted 18-year-old high school senior. At one time, Rodney had planned to go to college to get a degree in computer science. His parents hoped he would not do that.
He will do that.
Oh, that he will do that. But the computer software company he has worked for part-time has offered him a full-time job after high school. His starting salary would be $30,000 per year, plus stock and benefits. Rodney is also a very good guitarist and singer. He plays in a rock band. An agent has told the members of the band that they have a chance to make it big if they devote all their time to the band.
All right, so then you got the story about Rodney. The question then is, Rodney has some life-changing career decisions. They relate to how he will use his various gifts he has been given. List some of the possible consequences of the decisions he might make. So first of all, let's list the 3 possible career paths that he has in front of him. What are the 3 immediate career paths that he has in front of him? For an 18-year-old, he's got some big ones. If you want to give me one.
A job with a lot of money. Well, I think a lot of money.
A lot of money. He has a possibility for a job. What's the other one?
To earn a college degree.
He can go to college. All right.
Like the band.
And the rock band. So there's his 3 paths. He can go to college. Would that be instant gratification, do you think?
No.
It'll take
No.
some time.
But it'd be a lot of debt.
Yeah. It'd probably be at least 2 years. Possibly 4 to 6. Right? His computer company, would that be instant gratification?
Yes.
Yes. And what about the rock band?
No.
No. But exciting, probably, right?
Pie in the sky.
How could it feel like instant gratification?
Because they're taking a big risk and they're gonna go be a rock band because this agent said they could do it, so of course it's gonna happen right away.
Hey, he's gonna have instant groupies, right?
Yep.
That could be exciting, right? You're doing a tour, you're singing in bars and all kinds of things. I guess that could be exciting, right? All right. So now let's talk about possible consequences of all these. Let's first off, let's talk about this rock band. And what are some of the immediate consequences that could come from the rock band?
It's not successful.
Okay, might not be successful. And so what could happen if it's not successful?
Broke.
He's going to be broke, right? He could be broke. What other possible consequences? Maybe they're not all negative.
It could be. It makes it big.
He could make it big. All right. Anything else?
Could be rich.
He could be rich. Anything else?
He could get sucked into that lifestyle.
Oh, there you go. It could be a lifestyle problem. What do you mean by that, sucked into that lifestyle?
I'm going to reveal something. No shame on the internet. I love Nickelback.
Okay.
And they have a song called Rock Star. And he's singing about the life of a rock star where you have a big jet plane and you've got women and you've got drugs and you've got alcohol and you've got money and you've got clothes and you've got mansions and you've got all this stuff. But he's making fun of it the entire time because it's pointless.
Yeah, so a lot of times the lifestyle of those kinds of people don't turn out so well, do they?
No.
So if you look at some of the most famous of them, let's take a look. What happened to Jonas, or oh my goodness, Janis Joplin? She didn't turn out so well, did she?
Who?
No.
Janis Joplin.
Who's
What
that?
what happened to Jimi Hendrix?
Drugs, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
For sure.
What happened to some of these folks? Now you were lecturing me on not knowing some of these names. I'm pulling out some big names.
Janis Joplin, if I remember correctly, committed suicide. Jimi Hendrix OD'd on drugs.
Yeah.
As did Kurt Cobain, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
So we've got big rock star names
Mm-hmm.
that are huge in music, still recognized today from the 60s, 70s, and then
90s.
90s. But their lifestyle surely wasn't God-pleasing, was it?
Mm.
And it tends to be that those are the crowds that you're going to run with, because I started out by saying you might get famous and end up starting out working in bars and things like that, right? So what kind of crowds do you end up running around with? Rough crowds. All right, so let's go to the computer company. So now he's going to get a job, not go to college. He's going to bypass that. He's going to go right into working $30,000 in this computer company. Could be a solid job. What are the consequences that could come from that instant gratification?
30,000 isn't that much.
No.
But what was Fiona's response? Being a
It sounded rich.
It sounds rich to an 18-year-old kid. $30,000 when you're used to making what you make at
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. $30,000 sounds like what? A fortune. Now it's not saying that he couldn't work himself up that scale, right?
But he might not be able to get very far if he doesn't have the college degree to back that up.
Right.
There's going to be a ceiling where he can't.
But
go
not
past
always,
that.
right? Not always. Because sometimes you can get into a good blue-collar job where you work your way through and you recognize your hard work. But,
At a computer company.
but,
You
what,
can work your way up too sometimes.
you could work your way up. So let's not, I mean, we're not going to say that you have to have a college degree, but
But he could get a degree, work on a degree while he's working too.
Not
The
if he's
company
full time.
could give
That
him-
can be hard.
yeah. But there's always those pitfalls that come along the way, right?
Yep.
There could also be the piece that you fall into that job and then maybe end up at a job with nothing to fall back on later on, right? I'm reminded of, I love my father-in-law, but that's kind of what he did. I was immediately reminded of this. Hard-working guy. He goes into, what was the company that he worked for?
first.
Yeah.
You worked for a small trucking company. You worked for Bonta.
Bonta. Okay. They're the ones that make the dummies books. Remember the dummy books? And then when they went out of business, that was a problem because he had nothing to really fall back on. Do you see? And he ended up getting, the Lord took care of him because he had picked up skills along the way that were invaluable, and he got a better job later on. But that's a problem with that instant gratification.
It's a possibility if he manages his life and money properly and saves every month, every paycheck, he can have a lot of money and maybe going to college and, like you said, go in debt. The computer company might be a better route and build up in that, possibly.
Yep.
But if he could pay for his college education and keep the debt load low.
You're on, yeah, I agree with that track of mind. Instead of going to college and finding himself paying for the college loan 20 years from now, he might be better off taking the computer company job and then just trying to work his way up.
There was a time when you graduated from college, you got your degree, and the only job you got was working at McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, I think there's the possibility that could still happen today, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I'm saying. I think that with this one, there's a possibility it could work out just fine. There's also a possibility that it could end up that it doesn't happen that way, right? Then what about this college one? What could happen there?
Could drop out.
Party style.
It could end up party style. Of the three, which one do you think is the least risky?
The least risky?
Which one's the least
I
risky?
think the computer.
Computer company is the least risky.
Why do you think?
Because you got a job and you're getting paid. College, you're just spending, and a rock band is really.
So rock band's definitely risky. I think that one's definitely risky, unless you know something we don't.
Well, the other problem with computer company, him being as a beginner as 18 years old, and if he works for a company that uses computer language that he has no experience with computer language, he's going to lose his job that fast.
Okay.
I think all of them are actually risky. It just depends on how set his mind is.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Do you know how many students change their major once they go into college?
A lot.
A lot. So college is a gamble.
Along the same lines, the Bethany guy that was here said that the average person changes their actual job once every 16 months.
And here's the problem with
And
him
so if you
with
look at that way, the
thinking.
computer company
Yeah.
would be out of a job in 16 months.
Yeah, he could go to the computer company instead of college, decide it's not what he wants to do, quit, and if he'd have had opportunity for scholarship or something, he'd lost it.
What I'm looking at here, you say college.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's such a group of people out there that are adults. I mean, by that, they're almost middle age and still handling a college debt. So college is a crapshoot too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They're all risky.
they're all risky.
And I think the college debate's another is a totally different thing that we don't want to get on to tonight. I think that's probably poor business management.
Tim will bend your ear on that for a while.
And I think that's probably poor business management on the person that's holding the debt. I had no help going through college. I paid for my college entirely myself, and I was free and clear of my debt within 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, and that was
No GI loan?
no. Nope. I tried, but I was inept at filling out forms according to the government. But within 10 years, I was able to pay off mine, and that was going to a private college. And so, sometimes I think, the more you switch your the more you switch your majors and things.
Mhm.
Ask me how many times I switched my major. 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I started off commercial art, then I went to a millwright.
Yeah. And I started off as education and I stayed education.
4 times. I changed 4 times.
But I think so sometimes I think that makes a difference for all of those things. Let's go to the next question. So the next one says, imagine that Rodney comes to you for advice. It's very important that you listen to him first because he is nearly an adult. Remember, he's 18. I'd say he is an adult. And he will want to feel that this is his decision. What issues would you try to get him to think about before he makes this decision?
What does he plan to do for finances?
What are you going to do for finances? Anything else?
Are you going to be content with it?
Are you going to be content with your decision long term?
I still go the computer company, and I would say that, and then he can use that as a springboard to whatever.
Okay.
Where does he plan to live?
Okay, where are you going to live? Maybe think of things as a springboard. Anybody else?
And where does he think God
You're a
wants
former
him?
teacher. What do you got? Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yeah, this is most certainly true.
Quoting Luther now, so you got it.
One of my favorite quotes.
It doesn't say anything about if he's in a relationship either, which would figure into some of that.
Okay. All right. So
I just, you want students to look at themselves and see what they have to offer, what they're good at, and then tell them, well, you have to be driven to do it anyway. You can't just flop around. You've got to.
and you might want to bring God into this situation.
Yeah, I
too,
was
a
just
little
gonna say,
bit, right?
what does he think God wants him to do, or where does he feel like God can use him the most?
And how can you best serve God here, right? Where would be the best place for God to have you?
Maybe it's a Christian rock band.
Maybe it's a Christian.
There you go.
I would
Go
also,
back and watch our
I never
devotion from a
thought of
few
that.
years ago.
I would also ask one question that my grandma asked my brother every time he changed majors. He changed 10 times. And she said, all right, if you make this change and it falls through, what will you do 10 years from now? And she's like, look at it long term.
So I remember going into, you guys will get, we can't spend all night on this, but I remember going in and meeting with Dr. Acton. He was my advisor. And I remember sitting down with Dr. Acton and him coming to me and saying, okay, Curtis, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to get my kindergarten certification. And he said, okay, that's going to cost you an extra semester of schooling. I said, I don't want to get my kindergarten certification. And he said, no, why not? I said, it's going to cost me an extra semester of schooling. And he goes, so what do you want to do? And I said, I want to graduate in 4 years. That's what I want to do. And he goes, all right. So we sat down and we came up with my plan of how to graduate in 4 years. And if it took me taking a summer semester, I took a summer semester and I had to go to a different school. I remember I had to go to IUN, Indiana University Northwest, to do a biology class once because it didn't fall in the semester the way I had to take it. But I did it because I was out in 4 years, and that's how it was going to work. And I didn't want to spend more money than what I had, and that's how I did it. And so, yeah, I wasn't going to be one of the jumpers just because I had to pay for it on my own. That's how it worked. All right, let's go to the next one. Light from God's Word. Now imagine that you are in Rodney's shoes. And you are trying to choose what is the best thing for you to do. Let's take a look at John 21, verse 17, and see what advice it gives you regarding praying to God. And let's have Sandy. Sandy, would you read this for us?
What if I say no?
Well,
Yes.
you're late to class, so when you're late to class, you get called on first.
Now, they didn't know that. Now you've just humiliated me, Pastor. He asked him the third time, Simon, son of John, do you care about me? Peter was grieved because Jesus asked him the third time, do you care about me? He answered, Lord, you know all things. You know that I care about you. Feed my sheep, Jesus said.
Now, think about the question one more time. What encouragement does John 21, verse 17 give you regarding praying to God? Go back and let's look at that one more time.
Keep asking
Keep asking, absolutely.
and listen.
And listen,
And where will I be best used by you?
where will I be best used by you? And one of the things that popped out to me right now is look at this. Lord, you know all things. So as you're looking there, who knows the future for you or Rodney or all of us?
God.
God does. So as you're struggling with anxiety or you're worried about what's coming in the future or you're trying to figure out what the best decision is, what kind of encouragement can you take from this?
Even if I make the wrong choice, God still is going to send me where he wants me.
God's still going to put me in the right place, right? Yeah, absolutely. God knows all things and he cares about us deeply. God cares about us and he is going to guide us to make the decision that's pleasing to him in the end, right? Even if we have to get there in a roundabout way, he'll get us there. All right, let's go to the next one. It says, some people, when faced with these kinds of decisions, would be consumed with worry, right? There's going to be, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What comfort would the following passage give you as you make your decision? So we're going to look at three basic Bible verses. Thank you. Let's take a look at the first one. The first one is from Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 27. And can we just go around? Sandy just read. Would you read next for us? Esther?
Okay. The everlasting God is a dwelling place, and his eternal arms are under you. He drove out the enemy in front of you, and he said, destroyed.
All right. So we want to remember what we're looking for as we're reading these is what comfort did the following passages give us as we make our decision to dispel the worry of making decisions or our future, right? You want to read the next one for us, Darlene?
The everlasting God is a dwelling place in his...
Next
I
one.
read that.
So do not
Sorry,
worry.
I clicked it late.
Thank you. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own.
All right. And the last one.
Jesus looked at them and said, with people this is impossible, but with God all things are possible.
All right. So again, as we're looking at those Bible verses, how do those Bible verses help us as we're trying to make a decision, get rid of our worries?
Taking it to God.
Taking it to God. What do you mean?
Trust in God.
Trust that he will help you make the right decision.
Absolutely.
Or trust that the decision you made is the one that God wanted you to make.
Absolutely.
I mean, could he wave a green flag or something? That's the right thing I'm doing?
And sometimes that's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
To just trust that God is going to be there for us. But if you look at each and every one of these, right? If you look at each and every one of these, he drove out the enemy in front of you. God's going to take care of our problems, right? Look at the next one. Don't worry about tomorrow. And if you think about it, this carries along with the same ones where you can almost see that secondary picture of look at the birds of the air or the lilies of the field, right? They're not worrying. Why are you worrying? You're worth more than the birds or the lilies of the field. And that last one, this idea that with God all things are possible, so why are you thinking any of this stuff is impossible for God?
That just clicked something is when you put all three together. He's literally just clearing and preparing the path for us. We don't have to worry. The next step is already done.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And I always tell, we did a devotion of this in our house a while back, but St. Patrick, yeah, that St. Patrick, he had this blessing that he did. Do you know the benediction that you do at the end of every church service? Well, he had his own blessing, and our seminary, former seminary president, President Schmaling, used to always do it, which is, may Jesus go before you, behind you, above you, below you, on your side, and always around you. And that was his benediction. And the reason that was always so wonderful for him was this idea that wherever you are, Jesus is kind of encapsulating you. So what are you worrying for? And if you think about that from the perspective of St. Patrick, who went back to the place that enslaved him to tell them about Jesus, you can understand why he would have been full of worry in his decision to go back. But knowing what you have in front of you here, you can see why he'd say, hey, I'm wrapped up in Jesus. I'm not worried. Okay? And so,
If you've chosen the right one.
if I've chosen the right one.
If you made the right choice of rock band or computer or...
But that's interesting. Because will
Yeah.
Jesus get us to the right place no matter what? Well, if we make the wrong decision and he wants us to be in the right place, will Jesus eventually get us back there? When the northern and southern kingdoms did the wrong thing,
Right.
will he eventually get them back to where he wants them to be?
Yeah, but they sure fought it.
They did. But will they get him back to the right place? Will Jesus get him back? Absolutely. So I think about me. I remember when my mom came home, Sandy, and she said to me when I was 15 years old, she said, hey, we're moving to Indiana. And I said, who would want to ever move to a place with cornfields? And I was terrible. I went through our house. They put our house up for sale, and they would say, we're going to have an open house today, or not open house. Somebody's going to come look at the house. And I would run through the house with buckets of water, and I would throw water I would throw water around the toilets.
Make it look like there's a leaky
I
faucet.
was throwing that, so it looked like there's a leaky faucet. I run upstairs and I lock all the doors in the upstairs bedrooms so that people couldn't see the bedrooms. So they had to arrange all the houses.
How did you survive?
Yeah, I know. And
You would have been sleeping in the doghouse
I'm
out
sorry.
back.
when I got to Indiana, I was convinced. I said, well, God obviously doesn't exist because he never listened to my prayers. Never listened to my prayers.
Okay. And?
I was convinced of it.
Uh-huh.
And I remember arguing with a pastor at a county fair once, and I said, he doesn't exist. He's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was real, he would have listened, and I would still be living in Utah.
Right.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I met her in Indiana.
Not that time, because you moved back
But
to
do you
Utah.
see, if I wanted to move to Indiana, I wouldn't have gone to the school that I went to. I wouldn't have met
I got lines to match that.
And you see how it all, the Lord got us around, and he got me around all the way to there, and if it wouldn't have been that, I wouldn't have ended up a pastor, I wouldn't have ended up where I was, and I wouldn't have been here,
know.
and the Lord brought me here, and this, I will tell you, is the place I need to be.
Yeah, it is.
And
Sandy?
So don't go
Praise be
throwing
to
water
God.
anywhere.
My favorite saying right now that I see on Facebook and share every time is, if you think that you can mess up God's plans, I have news for you. You, my friend, are not that powerful.
But boy, there are sure a lot of people living on the streets that think they've messed up God's plans or
Yep.
something.
But God has been taking care of those people for a long time. So again, what do we do here? We look at these and we say, if I make the wrong decision, if I choose the wrong path, if I go to follow that rock band, and I make the foolish choice, well, that's my sinful heart, and I'm doing the wrong
Yeah.
thing. But God is going to come at me, and he's going to bring me back to the position I need to be at. He'll chase me, just like he did in Judges, with every single person.
We are not in control.
Absolutely.
And no matter what path we take in life, God has a plan for us. Kind of going along with what she says. So whether he goes to the rock band, or whether he goes to college, or whether he goes to the company, God has a plan for him. And God will steer him, if he's a believer, God will steer him down that path, and he'll eventually come back to where God wants him.
That's right.
Do not tell my Rachel that she is not in control. She will not like it.
All right. Well, let's keep.
That's something you learn as you grow up.
Absolutely it is. Because you like to think that you can be in control of everything when you're young, but it's never so freeing as to know that God's in control the older you get. Even the most free people you'll meet is those people that I like to call seasoned Christians. They're the ones when you know those people that start going when they're close to death and they start saying, when Jesus is ready, I'm ready. They get it.
Yep.
They get it. All right, let's go to the next one. Question number 3. Suppose a well-meaning Christian friend advises Rodney, put the question in God's hands. Just flip a coin or draw straws. Evaluate that advice in the light of what Jesus says in Luke 14, verse 28 and 30. All right. So let's look at Luke 14. I think it's your turn to read.
I get the long one?
You do.
For which you... Oh, a second here. I got to move around so I can see this.
Be the voice of wisdom, Tim.
For which of you, if he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, everyone who sees it will begin to ridicule him, saying, this fellow began to build, but was not able to finish.
All right. So we've talked a lot about it being God that is the one that's in control. But should we just, like it says here, flip a coin, draw straws, or say, eeny, meeny, miny, moe?
No.
So how should we make our decisions?
With prayerful consideration.
And what does that mean, prayerful consideration?
Pray a lot. Ask God to guide you and write out lists, pro, cons, ask advice, but seek his will first always.
Yep.
When we make plans, we don't say, we will do this tomorrow, or we will go there today. We should always say, God willing, we will.
Yeah. So that's right. Both those things are 100%. We want to make sure that we do our due diligence. That we spend our time and we carefully consider our choices. Right? We don't want to end up doing something foolish and then later blame God. Right?
Yep.
All right. So let's go to the next one. This is I guess the answer from the study guide. It says, we certainly trust that our lives are in God's hands. However, sometimes Christians try to make it easy or find a way out. They expect God to guide them to draw the right straw, rather than working through an issue in the light of what God says in his words. The person who wants to be a good steward of his life and blessings will plan wisely, as Tim just said, and well. Prayer will be a logical part of that planning, as you said. So you want to make sure you carefully consider and pray about these things.
Yep.
Right? All right. Now we'll go to 1 John. So this is what caution from 1 John chapter 2 is in order as we make decisions regarding our futures. And so this is from here. Do you want to read this one,
Yep.
Jolie?
Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the desire of the eyes, boasting about material possessions, is not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but the one who does the will of God remains forever.
So I'm going to ask real quick, what in looking here, what warning do you see about instant gratification, or what is the caution that you're given about instant gratification or about making decisions for your future in this Bible verse?
Well, there's two of them,
Lust.
desire of the eyes and lust of flesh.
Yeah,
Don't love it more than you love God.
absolutely.
Boasting of material possessions. Look how rich I am.
Yep. And so another way you might put it is this. Look at this. A strong desire for instant gratification usually results in a love, as you said, for worldly things. John wants. Sorry, I've got more potential spam. That's why I paused for a moment. Don't worry, I didn't need to renew my car warranty. All right, so we're going to go to question or the life example. Now look at the life example where we're going to meet this new person, and I think this is kind of fun. This is an older Bible study, but I have no clue how to say this lady's name.
Nafisa.
Nafisha?
Nafisa.
Nafisa. There you go, Nafisa. All right, so here we go. Fiona, you're going to read about Nafisa.
Charles and Nafisa are a young Christian couple about 30 years old. With a 3-year-old son, both are college
Wait a
graduates.
second, do you consider 30 young?
Oh,
It says that they're a young couple. Do you think 30 is young?
no.
No.
Well,
I do.
You do. Fiona doesn't consider them young. So we might have a discrepancy there. Okay, good thing. Go ahead.
They were married in college, who now have good jobs. They are discussing, not arguing about, the subject of sticking to a budget, which they have had problems doing in the past. Charles would like to save their future, but he would also like to take nice vacations. Now, Nafisa would like to save for their son's college education, but she really likes to buy things and have fun. Neither wants to go back to living on a shoestring as they did in college. They feel that they should enjoy the money they have now, but they also know that they ought to save something. With so many things for which they should save, it is hard to make decisions, so they keep putting the decisions off.
All right.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, have you been listening in at our house?
So Nafisa and Charles. So we just had this real quick, Fiona. A shoestring budget means that you live cheaply.
Mm.
That's what
Oh,
that
she
means.
didn't know what a shoestring budget was?
No,
She's a child.
I could
yeah.
tell when she
I don't
read
even know why it's called a shoestring budget. I mean, I know
Because
it
it's
means
skinny.
scrimping.
it. I think it's.
Oh, is
I
that
thought
what
it
it
meant
is?
like
Tight
they didn't have enough
budget,
money.
that
works.
Yeah,
Budget.
tight budget.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very
it's a
tight
tight budget
budget.
is what that means. Yeah, a lot of kids today don't know those kinds of.
We don't
I
use
know
this
it means, but I don't
terminology.
know why it means
Yeah, it's the
that.
expressions.
You've got to dumb it down.
You know,
It's
I
not dumb
understand
it down.
living
It's an
hand to mouth,
old-fashioned term. All right. Anyway,
not
so let's
like
get
the
started.
young couple.
What?
30's young, right?
I'm
All right.
with you. I don't think they're so very young.
I
They
got
should
a
know better.
problem with definitions here.
What's that?
Well, they said they both have good jobs. What makes it a good job? If they're living on a shoestring budget.
No, they don't
No,
have
they
to live
don't
on
go
a
back to
shoestring
college
budget.
where
my-
they lived on a shoestring budget.
Oh,
So I don't know if you know this, but like you've got to know this. When Andrea and I first got married, we were on a shoestring budget. So like there were nights when we lived our weeks at a time where we lived on like ramen soup or macaroni and cheese, and that was what we ate.
That's our extreme meal.
Like that's all we 39
Yeah.
cents a day for a meal. That was what we
But
had.
it's not good
that's
for
called
you.
hand to mouth.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So that was like if we could make rent and we could do that was good. And so I think that's what they're meaning by not wanting to go back to a shoestring budget. Am I right?
Yeah, I think they don't want to pull vacation money and college money and this out and only be able to afford ramen.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so what tensions are surfacing as Charles and Nafisa discuss their budget? So what are they arguing about?
Where to spend it?
Where to spend it? What other things?
How to manage it.
How to budget? Anything else?
How to get it, maybe.
How to get it?
Prioritizing.
Prioritizing. Anybody else? All right, so I got a couple ideas. These are the things I had. Instant gratification versus planning for the future. So remember, They were talking about some of them want to go on trips and things like that, and some of them are saying, hey, let's put away for college, let's put away for retirement, let's do these kinds of things. All right, what else? They have lived through tough times. That's the shoestring budget. And now they are enjoying the money, and they're having wealth. So now they're kind of enjoying having a little more money, all right? How can they save for the future while enjoying the fruits of their labor now? Okay, so that's another struggle. And are their decisions wise and God-pleasing? That's one of the big discussions they're having. How should they spend their money? Others? That's it? All right. So the next one. Both Charles and Nafisa feel they need to save. Can you think of examples of how saving money could actually become sinful abuse of God's blessings?
If it pulls priority over God's will.
What do you mean by that?
Don't give to the church.
That was my thought exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So if it becomes more important than anything else, right?
Right.
Even like the church.
It
Anything
becomes
else?
their God.
It becomes their God. It breaks the first commandment. Anybody else?
I think if they make it their priority over everything else, if they make it their priority over, saving money over fixing up or buying a new vehicle, or clothes for their 3-year-old or things like that.
There you go. There's always danger in extremes, aren't there? So that's always the danger here. Saving money is never bad. It's always good to save money, right? But the problem is that sometimes you'll hear people. Have you ever watched this show called like Extreme Couponing and things like that?
Eric is not allowed to watch that.
Okay. There's always the danger in extremes when people go to the ultimate of one side or the other, right? Where you're gonna spend everything so you have nothing, or you save everything so you have
Nothing. Yeah.
And so what did that look like? Let's take a look. It says, if their motivation for saving is self-centered, that means it becomes their God, desiring that someday they can be rich and take life easy. Or if they deny themselves to the point of living in poverty conditions. See the extremes there? Or if they're unwilling to help others to show their love for the Lord with their gifts. That's not giving to the church. Because they want to save. Then a sinful attitude has perverted what would appear to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? So keep that in mind. I'm going to say something. You're going to see it show up later. This is where Lutherans have got it. The Lutheran middle.
Oh yeah,
All right?
we like that.
Don't go to the extremes. Go to the Lutheran middle, which means you don't do extremes, right? It's kind of like in worship, you can go to the extreme of we're going to be having rock bands in the church, or we're going to chant everything, including the Bible lessons.
Wow.
Oh,
That
I
ought
don't
to
want to
be
hear
neat.
that.
Gotta try that.
Right? Not with me.
What a convention.
So,
You don't want to chant?
oh.
Please don't.
The question would be, do you want people here on Sunday or not? so where's the median between there? The Lutheran middle, right? So
I'm going to try that on
you have a Lutheran middle.
my Harvest Festival friends, Harvest Fellowship friends. Would you consider Lutherans the Lutheran middle? Would you consider them the middle of Christianity?
Well, what I mean by that is there's no extremes there. All right, let's go to the next one. So same thing. Why might failure to save then be a sinful abuse of God's blessings?
Because you're not being responsible for what God gave you.
Yeah.
Bad
If you're
stewardship.
being
Bad
wasteful, or a bunch of things you want but don't need.
And you might actually be causing harm to your family, right? Like they have kids. If you're spending all the money and your kids then don't have the things that they need, you could actually be essentially taking from your family.
I have problems identifying with those kind of people.
Yeah.
I really do. It is just so, why would you do that at the expense of your children?
And so again, the Lutheran middle. You got to be somewhere in the middle.
Pastor, I hate to tell you this, but I wasn't born Lutheran.
I know. But
Neither
I
was
know I'm
I.
a Melinda
Sa-
girl,
sa-
but
Sandy, you're one of the most Lutheran people I know. All right. So
my family agrees with that too.
so let's take a look now at the light from the Word. Now we're going to read this thing, and I feel like we need to have, what is it, the birds come in and sing this.
Oh, you want me to sing this one?
You could. I mean, I think it's actually Andrea's turn to read.
Oh, okay.
But
Sing, Mom,
Well, she
sing.
can't play her front horn and say the words at the same time. Okay.
For everything there is an appointed time. There is an appropriate time for every activity under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot plants. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to not to embrace. A time to search and a time to stop searching. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to rip and a time to sow. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from his hard work? I have seen the task which God has given the children of Adam to keep them busy. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Yes, he has also put eternity in their hearts. Yet it is not possible for man to understand the work that God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to be happy and to enjoy good things while they live. Also, when anyone eats, drinks, and experiences the good things that his hard work leads to, this is God's gift. I know that everything God does will last forever. Nothing can be added to it or taken away from it. God acts so that people will fear him.
Ecclesiastes should be.
Yep.
Yep.
so Fiona doesn't know this, but there was a famous song that was based on that, written by a 1960s band. It was the Birds, right?
I think it was.
Yeah. For every turn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Turn. Yeah. I should just no. I wouldn't
I
put that there.
don't think it's that close.
It's like they used to always play it. I think they used to do it at weddings a lot.
Not anyway.
No. Maybe
Never
it's just
asked us
Presbyterian
to.
weddings
Not at
I've seen it.
Lutheran.
Not at Lutheran weddings, but I've seen it in a lot of weddings. Okay. So the light from the Word, the inspired writer poetically postulates, say that 3 times fast, that there is a time to do certain things and a time to do just the opposite. So a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, right?
That's
Then
too
it's-
big to put on a grave marker, isn't it?
It's too long.
Okay.
Unless you have a really big grave marker. You get the long,
Too expensive.
you get the biggest one out there.
Too expensive.
The decision about which things need to be done at the moment will create a sense of tension in the decision-making process. Now, evaluate this statement. So here it is. It is actually good if we experience a sense of tension when we make decisions on how to use what we have. So,
Here.
so when we are making decisions, we should feel a tension within ourselves. We should debate it within ourselves. What do you guys think?
Self-conscious.
Yeah. Why do you?
Well, because there'd be a tension, because there's 2 sides again: God's will or what I want. So yeah, and so there's going to be natural tension with our sinful nature.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so sometimes God actually gives us things to wrestle with, doesn't he? And what's the purpose of it? What are we supposed to do with those things?
Go to Him.
Go to him. Go to his word. Go to him in prayer. We're supposed to wrestle with those things. It actually draws us closer to him, doesn't it? Look at this. Sometimes it's even things like this. Look at this. He says in the Bible, give to the needy, but then he also says, be a good steward of your money.
Well, giving to the needy would be a good use of your money.
But how much?
Well, it
If it's
depends on
gonna
the
take
need.
food out of your children's mouths,
What?
So, but if it's going to take food out of your children's mouths, so now all of a sudden, now all of a sudden we have to have that inward discussion with ourselves. We have to wrestle with that, and we have to say, Lord, we need to have a talk, and we have to look at His Word. We have to do a little bit of diving. We have to do a little bit of study. And what do we know? The more we study God's Word, what happens to our faith?
The more it grows.
The more it grows, the more stronger it gets, the more our relationship with the Lord grows. So sometimes that tension within inside of us actually is a good thing, isn't it? All right, let's go to the next one. Verse 1 through 8 point to the proper balance in our life. How might you apply these words to the discussion between Charles and Nafisa, the balance in our lives? What do you guys think?
There's a time to save, and there's a time to use what God has given you.
Time to save, time to use. That kind of fits, right? Time to plant, time to reap, time to save, time to spend.
All of
Yeah.
those things.
moderate.
Moderate. Sounds like something I said a while back. And the survey says the Lutheran middle. All right. So look at this. The tension is that the healthy part of our decision making will help Charles and Nafisa see that they want to be thrifty, but not stingy, and generous, but
Right.
not wasteful.
Right.
It's the Lutheran middle. There it is. All right. Let's keep going.
Alice Basil.
All right, question number 3. What truths in Ecclesiastes 3:1 through 14 might help Charles and Nafisi balance tension in their budget planning?
Can we see one through?
I was going to say, it's a lot, but
We should just have the birds.
What is the question again? What?
I should have Fiona prep and she could have sang it for us. While you guys are all doing that, Fiona's going to present her science project to the Board of Education on Monday,
She's not presenting, they're honoring.
honoring her.
Oh,
She's
no.
different.
Okay.
They're presenting
didn't-
hers.
I didn't read the...
Oh.
I'll double check.
That's what it said.
Oh, good.
Okay.
What's the question again?
So it says, what truth in Ecclesiastes 1 through 14 might help Charles and Nafisa balance the tension in their budget planning?
is this the appropriate time to do something?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a good side and a bad side.
Good side, bad side. Is it the appropriate time?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
He's made everything beautiful.
All right. I got some ideas. Let's go back and let's see. Maybe we'll put up one or two at a time. We'll see. Next one. Here we go. They could recognize that they need balance in their lives. They shouldn't go
Right.
overboard in any area,
Right.
whether work or recreation. So
Right.
a little bit at a time, right? Next one. Anybody else? Their food and drink and ability to find fulfillment are all gifts from God. They don't need to be slaves to work, but they can enjoy what God gives. And they can look for God's wisdom and guidance.
Be content in all things.
Be content in all things. And also, she's talking about vacation plans, but they don't necessarily have to go on a fancy vacation.
No.
Where can they go? Hamler has really nice vacation spots.
No way.
Right?
Especially this weekend, there's the country fest.
There you go. All right, so let's go this way. In the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, Jesus talks about managing the gifts God has given to us. What is the significance to the fact that God gave one person 5 talents,
Yeah.
another 2, and still another 1 talent? Let's watch.
What they could handle.
Oh, we're gonna watch.
Oh.
Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received the 5 talents went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received the 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents brought the other 5.
Master,
He said,
you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more.
his master replied,
Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.
The man with the 2 talents also came.
Master,
He said,
you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more.
his master replied,
Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.
Then the man who had received the 1 talent came.
Master,
He said,
I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you.
His master replied,
You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the banker so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has the 10 talents. For everyone who has will be given more. And he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
I always feel sorry for that guy.
All right. So Jesus talks about managing the gifts God has given to us. What is the significance of the fact that God gave one person 5 talents, another 2, and still another 1 talent?
Each one in accordance with their abilities.
Right. So he gives us what our abilities are for, right? So he gives us the talents so that we can do certain things to his glory. And so all of our talents should be used to do what?
Glorify God.
Glorify God. And that's right. If we should use our talents to glorify God and do everything to his glory. If you're really good at singing, like some are, do it to God's glory. If we're really good at painting, do it to God's glory. If you're really good at farming, gardening, do it to God's glory. But do it all to God's glory, right? And that's exactly what this is saying. All right, Jesus teaches us to be faithful with all the gifts he has given us. What specific implications does that truth have for Charles and Nafisa as they plan their budget?
You just said it. Glorify God with it.
they don't want to waste their blessings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one. Anything else? What should they do with the blessings they do have?
Use them.
Use them, invest them, right? See that they increase. All right? And then they should be mindful of their future blessings. All right, question number 6. The following passage help us recognize the purposes for which God gave us our talents and our possessions. So we're going to look at the next ones. We're going to look at 1 John, 1 Corinthians, and Romans. And then we're going to have Sandy over there read 1 John 3.
Whoever has worldly wealth and sees his brother in need but closes his heart against him, how can God's love remain in him?
All right, so I've got a question for you, Sandy. Can you give me what purpose does it say there is, the question was, the following passage recognize the purposes for which God gives us our talents and possessions. What is the purpose that God gives us a talent there?
I'm assuming that we're thinking of money or something,
Yeah.
worldly wealth. You should see where you can put it to good use that will help more people, not just build yourself a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But maybe you can help someone with his college education.
Okay.
Or
specifically, who does it say there?
how can
For Charles and
his brother.
Yeah,
Is it-
his brother or our family, right?
Yeah.
So God gives you your blessings to help your
Okay.
family. Your worldly wealth to help your family. That's one. Yeah, go ahead. You got something with it?
Well, we're talking about wealth, but when you say wealth, what is wealth? It could be a gift, a talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you are I always say that I've worked with people that were very gifted at their job, but they never did it. They were worthless. Their talent was worthless because they did not share it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have the ability to be a carpenter, then maybe we should use part of that great talent to help somebody maybe do some repairs on their house.
That's a good point.
Great mechanic, help somebody maybe with their automobile that needs help. A neighbor down the street is having a hard time and you can cook. Maybe you can find a dish to take down there to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, a lot of times we look at this and we're looking at it as money.
Yeah. And specifically with the family reference, I know a lot of us here in Northwest Ohio, the big thing is how close we are to our family. The joke here is you can't throw a rock without hitting somebody that's related to somebody else, right? But I know how many of us take care of family members, right?
Oh boy, yeah.
And it's like you said, it's not just money. You're right. I think about Jean and the people across the street, or not Jean, Joanne, and the people across the street mowing their yard, right? What a beautiful thing there. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, you want to read for us, Esther?
On the first day of every week, each of you is to set something aside in keeping with whatever he gains and saving it up at home, so that when I come, no collections will need to be carried out.
Now, this is Paul speaking to the church, and what's he specifically saying that we should do with our gifts there? Who are we supposed to give them to there?
Look around and see what our neighbors need.
Not our neighbors. He's talking about collections for who? The church.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about collecting for the church. So they would set aside their grains or their offerings for the church. He's going to come collect them for the greater church. Right?
Okay.
There were famines and things going on. So he's collecting for the church. So one of the things are, how can we help out the church with our gifts? And like you said, it's not necessarily always money offerings, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it can also be, what are your talents in other ways? You're a Wednesday school teacher, a Sunday school teacher. You help out with VBS. there are folks to help out in council positions, and there are folks to help out with cleaning and mowing and all of these different things. All of these different ways are ways that the church gets it's people use their gifts to help out the church, right? All right, let's go to the next one. Here's a long one. Andrea. Oh, I'm sorry. I looked at the whole thing. Darlene, never mind. I would thought it was the whole thing.
For this reason, you also pay taxes because the authorities are God's ministers who are employed to do this very thing.
So what else should we do with our gifts from God?
Pay our taxes.
Render unto Caesar.
Render unto Caesar. Pay our taxes. All
Hopefully
right.
on time.
Well, we just lost 9 viewers. All right. So yeah, we give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and it's not always the most popular thing. They didn't like tax collectors then. People still don't like them, but we give it into Caesar's what is Caesar's because that's what God says to do. All right, let's go to the next one. Breakout decision or discussions. We're almost done, guys. It has been suggested that people today are consumed more than ever with a desire for instant gratification. They want to have it all right now with as little work as possible. What do you think? Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Watch TV.
Watch TV. What do you mean?
Whenever they do on TV to be, they're going to be successful. It actually goes, from before the commercial till after the commercial, and then they've made their goal. There was no discussion of the sacrifice, the whatever that was involved to get to that goal. When you see stuff nowadays, it just happens in a matter of seconds, and we don't realize that there is a lot of hard decisions to make. There's a lot of could be mental and physical stress involved. And it takes day after day after day. And it's like somebody going to school, and there's no instant gratification at school because you're in what grade? Fourth grade? Okay. You're in the fourth grade, and now you have to work your way all the way through school, and every year you've got to go through this painstaking routine until you become a graduate.
Shall I play devil's advocate? What if you're only hearing the people that are getting instant gratification because they're shouting so loudly, while the people that are working hard are doing it quietly and keeping their heads down?
Well, I'm not
There
arguing
might be
that.
more of them out there than we realize.
That there are. But what I'm trying to say, though, is part of the worldly message is it takes no work. You get, people want that degree.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely, there are definitely pieces of circumstantial evidence of that. So the average video on Instagram or TikTok is 7 seconds long. But the average person stays on each video for 2 seconds before they swipe up and go to the next video. That's instant gratification. I'll give you an example of instant gratification another way. Right now, like ABC, NBC, CBS has struggled with sitcoms. Remember sitcoms were very popular in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
And 90s.
They've stopped making them, I think, on ABC. Is it ABC that stopped making them? And they said that one of the reasons, I think it's ABC, I could be wrong if you're looking me up at home, if you're Googling it right now. One of the major branches have stopped making it. And they said the reason why they've stopped making it is because of binge watching. Binge watching is where you can watch it online and you can watch the entire season.
Oh, yes.
And they said because people watch entire seasons of a show at one time, and things like that. And then they have to wait an hour, or not an hour, a year to get the next season on.
Yeah.
People won't come back for the show after having to wait a year. So they're not developing the relationships with the characters. And so the companies aren't able to produce the shows like they used to. So they're no longer going to produce it. And they actually use the word instant gratification, that people want the instant gratification. So like Netflix and Hulu, when they're doing their television shows now, they'll actually produce the entire season.
Right.
Like they'll
And you
produce,
can watch that whole thing, and then when you've got that one, then you go to the next series and watch it.
but they'll actually, like, I'm gonna be a nerd for a second. When they filmed the last Star Trek series, they filmed all 3 seasons at the same time. They filmed all 3 seasons at the same time. That way they could release them with a shorter amount of time between the series, so that people wouldn't get bored waiting for the next group to come out. And that's why, so that people wouldn't lose it. So there's kind of an instant gratification.
I guess what I was trying to get at is, one thing is, you go on YouTube and they got all kinds of sites there. One of it is people, which I have watched, and it is mowing lawns, refurbishing a whole yard, pruning the trees, the shrubs. But they do it at like 50% of the speed. Otherwise, twice the speed, I should say. So you're watching these people and they're moving around like crazy out in this yard, and you think, oh, boy, it only took them 5 minutes to do that. But in reality, no, it did not. And it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat. But you see this done so quickly. And then when you go to do it, you realize, no, it took longer. I got actually kind of bored doing it maybe. And that's how, I see a lot of people that are looking for instant gratification.
I think that right now the world is absorbed in instant gratification because
Is bored with instant gratification?
it is. No, I think right now the world is kind of like overwhelmed with instant gratification, especially kids. Especially kids, because they want it, they have to have it, and every generation has a cycle. Every generation has a cycle, and we're in the cycle where a lot of kids are like, well, I was a victim. My parents didn't give me this or that or the other thing, so I'm not going to do that to my kids. So they just, we're kind of, we're producing that where everybody just wants to get what they want when they want it immediately. But eventually, they're going to be adults, and the people that gave them everything they wanted right away aren't going to be there, and they're going to have to learn to do it themselves. And that's when they're going to learn to take their time and not be smacked with instantly getting things.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to question number 4. So go to question number 4. And this is where we're going to wrap up tonight. So question number 4 says, how can you train your children to look beyond the temptation of instant gratification, to plan wisely how they might best use the blessings God has given them?
Make a list of what you have.
Make a list of the things. So that's a good thing. One of the interesting things that I've seen is people, when they do their devotions and things, to keep a blessings journal. So write the things that you're thankful for during your day. So like you've heard of people keeping diaries and things. Don't keep necessarily a diary. Keep the things that you're thankful to God for. You're content for. Like you were saying, be content in all things, even on a very rough day. Thank you, God, for. And keep a list of the things that you're content for. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're not necessarily thinking, I want. These are the things that I'm content for. That's a good thought, Fiona. Anybody else?
Example.
Yeah, live by example. Right?
What your children see you do, that's where they learn.
So only play with nails and 2x4s. And that way they know their toys only need to be nails and 2x4s like my father grew up with, right? And walk to school, work uphill both ways.
Yeah, school. Yeah.
They'll put a hill in for you.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you make them work for it too. You show them that you put in the work to get what you want. Like we've told the kids, they're like, well, what, we want this, we want that. And they're like, what about allowances? And we've told them, when you actually do work around the house regularly, when we can see it daily, when you are consistent with it, yeah, we'll give you an allowance. But you have to be consistent first. And I think that's a big thing is, show them if you put in the work and save the money, then yeah, you can get that thing that you want, but you can't have it just because you want it. You gotta work for it.
Like Jeremy, he used to always say, I want this and I want that. And I always used to sit back and say, it's good to want things. It motivates you.
Go out to the money tree.
Yeah, we'll go out back in the money tree and, we'll get the money for it. But I tell them it's a motivation. If you really want it that bad, get out there and do something.
Yeah. Anybody else got any thoughts?
I think there's a lot of good examples in the Bible, right? Because at the very beginning, Adam and Eve sinned, and God didn't send a savior right away. He said when the time had fully come, and it was a long time.
And the interesting thing, if you look at when Cain was born, so if you look at Cain, even then she wanted instant gratification, because if you look at the original Hebrew there, if you guys go,
yep.
The Hebrew actually she says, I brought forth the Lord.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought she brought forth the Savior. That's the Hebrew word there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. Yeah, that's a good example of she wanted instant gratification and didn't get it.
There's a lot of times when God said, wait.
Sarah, like, I'm actually going to get this, so why don't you go have relations with my servant girl?
Mm.
There's another example when she was talking to Abraham, right? And Ishmael came along.
Well, and Laban's dealings with his daughters and Jacob.
Yep.
He had to work for 7 years before he could get married, and then another 7 years. And
yeah.
There's a lot of times where wait is what you have to do.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll let you take the rest of those home, and we'll be back next week. I think we're back next week, right? Yep. Back next week with our next installment, and let's close with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to have a life where you have given us the one thing that we need, Jesus Christ. In our lives, when we continually say, I want, I want, I want, thank you for blessing us with a time where we can look to the cross and say, I see the wounds of Christ upon me. Help us always stay focused on him, the author and perfecter of our faith. Amen. I'll see you Sunday when we continue with our Bible study on the fourth commandment.
Do we have church tomorrow night?
Oh yeah, tomorrow,
Yep.
Ascension.
Church at
Are you
Ascension.
gonna be here?